And Cheri Jacobus, GOP strategist and Capital Strategies PR president. All right, guys, let's set the stage. Fannie May Freddie Mac they bought all of these bogus loans, but they bought them really, if you got to go back to the Community Reinvestment Act, when they were sort of, the government said to banks, you must lend, you must make very dangerous loans to people who probably can't pay them back, or we will make sure you don't do business in this country. Now, as a sweetener, they said, we'll buy these loans from you through Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. They had to be bailed out, $187 billion. Now, here's the thing. Since then, they've paid back $230 billion. They paid all the money back. Neither side of the aisle wants to give them up. They don't want to shut them down. They want them to keep pumping that money into the government because both sides are ultimately greedy. Even the socialists, your friend, Elizabeth Warren, Jessica.
My best friend, Elizabeth Warren.
So what's the deal now? I mean, it does just underscore the fact that forget about all the ideology, all the talk, all the notion of being fair. When it all comes down to it, when it's about cash, billions of dollars flowing into the coffers, neither party is willing to relinquish that.
I mean, yeah, you have a point. You can't get elected in this country without huge financial backing. You can't survive without the support, especially on the left, or like the NAACP, these civil rights groups, private business interest. It matters, obviously, for campaigns. But to kind of, say that her entire ideology is just kind of a load of whatever because she switched her position on this, I think is not fair. Elizabeth Warren has a long, dedicated career to supporting the lower classes in this country. That's the reason she's a champion of the progressive movement, actually not Bernie Sanders.
A very wealthy champion of the lower income folks, yeah.
Yes, she's definitely a 1%er. Look, you said it. There was a pile of money sitting on the table. Everybody wants it. I actually don't have a problem with her switching her position, but I think this business about she just found out that it might affect, the lower.
You think that's something
borrowers.
it's BS. I mean, let's be honest, right?
She was lobbied hard. I think the civil rights groups were coming after her, and politically, she's fine making the switch, but let's call it what it is. It's political expediency. We know this.
And we understand. So here's the problem, though. When you have this agency and it's politicized like this, it takes us back down the path that ultimately we were, where people were buying houses that they could simply not afford, with no money down.
And if only if it's a privatized system.
Oh no,
it can happen on it. I mean, there's predatory lending practices. The only reason it can happen under the private sector and the way it happened was a bank. If I'm a bank, I know two things. I know the government is making me make these loans, but they'll buy them from me. So I chop them up and I sell them to the system. But it became this gigantic nuclear thing that blew us all up. Take this out of the equation, and I think the private sector won't kill itself. I don't think they'll make billions of dollars in loans, they don't want
trillions of dollars in loans to people who can't pay them back.
It's the government getting in probably where they don't belong.
But you guys, this is why Donald Trump is resonating. This is why Donald Trump is resonating, because of the greed, the greed of professional politicians putting America at risk over and over again.
Donald Trump is the greediest man in the world.
He can be greedy with his own money, though. This is greed putting America at risk.
We're talking about, again, the pile of money that people in Washington want because they want to use it for different things. It's not like they're taking it personally.
What different things are you talking about? Because there's an implication that these people are dirty, that they're just lining their own pockets, and it's about...
No, that's not what this is. That's opposite what I said. What I was saying, they aren't lining their own pockets. This is money in Washington that they want to use for other things, to fund other priorities.
Which is why we have $18 trillion in debt. No matter what the government takes in, records amount of money this year, we still spend more than we take in. That's got to stop.
Elizabeth Warren did this for political expediency. Politically, it doesn't hurt her. That's the way it works.
Yeah, but it may hurt all of us. Guys, we got to leave it there. I tell you what didn't hurt today.